Our story begins around 4.6 billion years ago in a far-off region of the Milky Way galaxy. Imagine, if you will, a vast cloud of gas and dust, swirling and churning in the darkness of space. This cloud, under its own immense gravity, began to collapse and spin faster, forming a spinning disk known as the protoplanetary disk. In the heart of this chaos, most of the matter began to gather, creating a dense core. As the core grew, pressure and heat rose until finally, a new star ignited. This star, our very own sun, began to shine brightly, casting its light into the surrounding darkness. But the birth of the sun was only the first act in this cosmic play. The leftover material from the protoplanetary disk, a mixture of gas, dust, and rock, didn't go to waste. Instead, these pieces started to collide and merge, creating small rocky bodies called planetesimals. It was a violent and chaotic time, with countless collisions happening every moment. Over millions of years, through countless impacts and mergers, these planetesimals grew larger, becoming protoplanets, the building blocks of future worlds. One such protoplanet, through a process of heating and differentiation, began to take shape into a world we would come to know as Earth. This early Earth was a far cry from the blue and green oasis we know today. It was a molten world, a sea of lava and rock, heated by the energy of countless impacts and the decay of radioactive elements. This period, known as the Hadean, was a time of intense change and formation. And thus, amidst the cosmic dust and gas, the sun was born, and the stage was set for the formation of the planets. From the chaos of the early solar system, order began to emerge. The birth of our solar system was not a singular event, but a process of creation and destruction, of collision and fusion. This is the story of our cosmic origins, the birth of our solar system. The leftover material from the formation of the sun didn't go to waste. The remaining gas and dust, now orbiting the newly formed sun in a protoplanetary disk, began a process of growth and evolution that would ultimately lead to the creation of our planet, Earth. In this bustling protoplanetary neighborhood, the smallest particles started to stick together, forming larger and larger clumps. They grew from mere specks of dust to pebble-sized objects, then to boulders, and finally to what scientists call planetesimals. These planetesimals, some reaching sizes of up to hundreds of kilometers in diameter, were the early building blocks of the planets. As these planetesimals continued their dance around the sun, they began to collide with each other. These were not gentle nudges, but violent, high-speed crashes. Each collision caused the planetesimals to merge, creating larger and larger bodies. In this chaotic environment, survival was a game of luck and mass. The bigger the body, the stronger its gravitational pull, and the more likely it was to attract and collide with other bodies, growing even larger. Over time, some of these growing bodies reached a critical size and began to change. Their interiors heated up, and they started to differentiate, with heavier elements sinking towards the center and lighter ones rising to the surface. These were the protoplanets, the precursors to the planets we know today. Among these protoplanets was one that would become very special. Located in a seemingly ordinary region of the protoplanetary disk, this particular protoplanet began to stand out. It continued to grow and evolve, its interior heating up, its surface constantly reshaped by countless impacts. This was the birth of our home, the Earth. And so, through a process of collision and growth, our Earth began to take shape. But this was just the beginning of its journey. The Earth would undergo further dramatic transformations, from a molten, inhospitable world to the life-supporting planet we call home today. In its early stage, the Earth was a red-hot, molten world. Welcome to the Hadean period, named after the ancient Greek god of the underworld, Hades. This was a time of intense heat and violent bombardment. Imagine a world so hot that the surface was completely molten, a sea of lava, if you will. This was due to the energy released from constant impacts and the decay of radioactive elements. The Earth, in its infancy, was an inhospitable place, devoid of any life as we know it. The Hadean period, which spanned from around 4.5 to 4 billion years ago, was a pivotal chapter in the Earth's history. It set the stage for the formation of a solid crust, the earliest oceans, and the conditions necessary for the emergence of life. This was Earth's fiery infancy, a time of molten rock and intense heat. Over time, the Earth began to cool down. This cooling process was not a sudden occurrence, but a gradual one, spanning millions of years. As the searing heat began to dissipate, the molten outer layer started to harden, giving rise to Earth's solid crust. This crust was initially unstable, constantly melting and reforming due to the planet's internal heat and frequent collisions with remaining planetesimals. However, with each reforming cycle, the crust became more stable, creating a protective layer over the molten interior. As the crust solidified, the first landmasses began to emerge, breaking the endless expanse of magma. This cooling process also had another significant effect. The intense heat had trapped water vapor in the atmosphere, but as the Earth cooled, this vapor began to condense. It fell as rain, filling the depressions in the Earth's crust. Over millions of years, these depressions filled up, forming the first bodies of water, and so, the first oceans were born, marking another significant milestone in Earth's formation. As Earth's surface continued to evolve, plate tectonics began to play a crucial role. Our planet's crust is not one solid, unbroken shell. Instead, it's divided into massive pieces known as tectonic plates. These plates, some as large as continents, float on the semi-fluid layer of the mantle beneath them. These plates are in constant, albeit slow, motion. They grind against each other, pull apart or collide, driven by the heat deep within the Earth. When they collide, they form mountain ranges like the Himalayas. When they pull apart, they create space for oceans to form, like the Atlantic. Beneath the ocean, the plates can also dive or subduct under each other, recycling the crust back into the Earth's fiery interior. In some areas, this subduction causes molten rock to rise, creating volcanic activity. These movements of Earth's crust have sculpted our planet's face, creating the landscapes we see today. The Earth's face is not static, but rather, it's always changing. You see, the surface of our planet is a grand stage where the drama of geology unfolds. Over millions of years, the continents have been actors in this epic performance, coming together and breaking apart in a cycle known as supercontinent cycles. Picture it, large land masses colliding, forming massive supercontinents such as Pangaea, only to fracture and drift apart again. This dance is choreographed by the movements of tectonic plates, the large slabs of Earth's crust that float atop the semi-fluid layer beneath. As these plates shift, they carry continents along for the ride, leading to their current positions. But remember, this isn't the final act. The continents continue to move even today, at about the same speed your fingernails grow. The shifting of continents is a dynamic process that continues to shape our planet. Earth's atmosphere wasn't always as it is now. In fact, the air we breathe today is the result of a remarkable transformation that began around 2.7 billion years ago. Let's step back in time to understand this extraordinary event. Back then, Earth's atmosphere was vastly different from what we know today. It was primarily made up of nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and traces of other gases, but virtually no oxygen. This early atmosphere was inhospitable to most forms of life as we know it. Enter the humble cyanobacteria, a type of microscopic organism that forever changed the course of life on Earth. These tiny life forms had a unique ability. They could perform photosynthesis. This process allowed them to use sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose, a type of sugar they use for energy. But photosynthesis also produced something else: oxygen. Over millions of years, these cyanobacteria multiplied and thrived in the world's oceans, churning out oxygen as a byproduct of their photosynthesis. This oxygen was initially absorbed by the oceans and the Earth's crust. But eventually, the oxygen started to accumulate in the atmosphere, leading to a dramatic event known as the Great Oxygenation Event. This event caused a significant rise in the levels of atmospheric oxygen, from virtually none to about 21% of the atmosphere we have today. This new oxygen-rich atmosphere was a game changer. It allowed for the evolution of more complex life forms that could use oxygen to generate energy more efficiently. This significant change in Earth's atmosphere paved the way for the rise of complex life forms, setting the stage for the world as we know it today.
Ever wondered how our planet, the Earth, came into existence? The tale of our home's birth is one of cosmic proportions. Imagine, if you will, a time roughly 4.6 billion years ago. A massive cloud of gas and dust, swirling in the depths of space, began to coalesce under the relentless pull of gravity. This marked the beginning of a process called accretion. Tiny particles collided and stuck together, building up over countless years into larger and larger objects. Eventually, the accumulation of matter gave rise to a stable planet, our Earth. But the story doesn't end there. Within this newborn planet, elements and minerals began to differentiate and segregate, forming distinct layers. The core, mantle, and crust of the Earth started to take shape, setting the stage for the diverse geological marvels we see today. And thus, from chaos and cosmic dust, our planet was born. Imagine a time when Earth's surface was a hotbed of volcanic activity. Welcome to the Archean Eon, a period that spanned from around 4 billion to 2.5 billion years ago. Picture the Earth during this time. It was a world in the making. The Earth's crust was still forming, splitting and merging in a fiery dance of geological activity. There were no sprawling forests, no towering mountains, and no deserts filled with golden sand. Instead, the world was a realm of molten rock, simmering seas, and billowing clouds of steam and gas. Amidst this elemental chaos, the first continents began to take shape. These were not the familiar landmasses we know today, but rather, smaller proto-continents. They were born from the heat and pressure of the Earth's interior, emerging from the depths of the ocean to tower over the water's surface. Meanwhile, beneath the waves, the first stirrings of life were beginning to emerge. In this Archean ocean, the building blocks of life found the perfect conditions to come together. Simple microorganisms like bacteria and archaea started to thrive in this primeval soup, marking the first page in the long story of life on Earth. So, in a world that seemed hostile and inhospitable, life found a way. It started with the smallest of organisms, but it was a start nonetheless. Life, in its simplest form, had taken root on our young planet. Now, imagine the Earth undergoing a series of transformative changes. We have now reached the Proterozoic Eon, a period stretching from around 2.5 billion to 541 million years ago. This was a time of significant shifts, both in the Earth's physical environment and the life forms it hosted. One of the most remarkable events during this eon was the oxygenation of the atmosphere, also known as the Great Oxidation Event. This crucial shift was brought about by photosynthetic cyanobacteria, microscopic organisms that released oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Over time, these tiny life forms transformed the Earth's atmosphere, enriching it with oxygen. This is a key event in our planet's history, as oxygen is vital for the survival and evolution of many life forms. The oxygenation of the atmosphere set the stage for a major diversification of life. It was during the Proterozoic Eon that we see the first signs of eukaryotes, organisms with complex cells containing a nucleus. This was a significant leap from the simple unicellular life forms that had previously dominated the Earth. As the eon progressed, we also see the emergence of multicellular organisms, yet another step towards the complexity of life that we see today. The Proterozoic Eon was indeed a time of transformation and evolution, a period that set the stage for the vibrant and diverse life on Earth. Life was ready to take a leap towards complexity. Welcome to an era of exploding life forms. We're talking about the Paleozoic era, a significant chapter in Earth's history that began around 541 million years ago. This era was marked by a remarkable event popularly termed as the Cambrian explosion. It was during this period that life displayed an unprecedented burst of diversity. From the simplicity of single-celled organisms, life took a leap towards complexity. The oceans, once inhabited by basic life forms, now teemed with a multitude of diverse organisms. This era saw the emergence of various marine life forms, some simple, others complex, but all contributing to a vibrant underwater world. It was a time of rapid evolution, a time when life explored every possible niche, resulting in an explosion of forms and structures. As the Paleozoic era progressed, life continued to diversify and complexify. The stage was set for the arrival of some of the most iconic organisms. Step into an age ruled by colossal beasts. Welcome to the Mesozoic era, a time that spanned from about 252 to 66 million years ago. This era is often referred to as the Age of Dinosaurs, as it witnessed the rise and fall of these magnificent creatures, the likes of which the world had never seen before. The Mesozoic era was a time of great geological upheaval. The supercontinent Pangaea, a vast landmass that once united all the world's continents, began to break apart. This fragmentation marked the beginning of the continents as we know them today. These tectonic movements resulted in the formation of new oceans and vast mountain ranges, altering the face of the Earth dramatically. Amidst these changes, the dinosaurs emerged as the dominant terrestrial vertebrates. They came in all shapes and sizes, from the massive long-necked herbivores like the Brachiosaurus to the sharp-toothed carnivores like the Tyrannosaurus rex. Dinosaurs ruled the land, while marine reptiles like the Plesiosaurus dominated the seas, and the first birds began to take to the skies. The Mesozoic era was also a time of great biological innovation. Plants evolved to produce seeds and later flowers, leading to the diversification of insects and the appearance of the first mammals. These changes set the stage for the ecosystems we see today. However, this era of giants was not to last forever. Around 66 million years ago, a catastrophic event led to the mass extinction of the dinosaurs, along with about 75% of all species on Earth. The culprits? Likely a combination of massive volcanic eruptions, climate change, and a devastating asteroid impact. Despite their eventual extinction, dinosaurs left an indelible mark on Earth's history. Their fossils continue to captivate us, offering a window into a world long gone, a world where reptilian giants walked the Earth, and the story of life on our planet took a dramatic turn. Enter an era marked by the rise of a new kind of dominant species. Welcome to the Cenozoic era, an epoch that commenced roughly 66 million years ago, a time heavily influenced by mammals. This era, which stretches from the extinction of the dinosaurs to the present day, is often referred to as the Age of Mammals. During the Cenozoic era, Earth was shaped by momentous geological events. Volcanic eruptions spewed ash and lava, altering landscapes and creating new landforms. Asteroid impacts, too, made their mark, leaving craters that serve as reminders of these cataclysmic events. The Earth's climate also underwent significant changes, with periods of warming and cooling that impacted the evolution of life. But the real stars of this era were the mammals. With the dinosaurs out of the picture, mammals had the opportunity to flourish and diversify. They evolved into a multitude of forms to fill the niches left empty by the dinosaurs. Over time, they grew larger and more complex, ranging from tiny shrew-like creatures to massive beasts like the woolly mammoth and the saber-toothed tiger. The Cenozoic era also saw the evolution of primates and, eventually, the emergence of humans, who would go on to have a profound impact on the planet. This era represents a significant chapter in Earth's rich tapestry, a time when mammals took center stage, leading to a world teeming with diversity. Fast forward to the present, where humans have become powerful geological forces. We're now living in what many scientists call the Anthropocene, an epoch where human activities have begun to have a significant global impact on Earth's ecosystems. Just think about it. The way we've built our cities, the way we mine for resources, the way we divert rivers, all have left indelible marks on the planet. But perhaps the most profound change we've introduced is climate change. Through the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation, humans have significantly increased the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. This has led to a rise in global temperatures, affecting weather patterns and leading to more frequent and severe natural disasters. Not only that, but our actions have also led to widespread pollution. From the deepest trenches of the oceans to the highest peaks of the mountains, traces of our presence can be found. This pollution has had devastating impacts on countless species and ecosystems, altering the course of evolution. The Anthropocene is both a testament to human ingenuity and a stark reminder of our responsibility. We've harnessed the power to shape the Earth, but with that power comes an obligation. We must strive for sustainable practices that will mitigate the effects of our actions and protect our planet for future generations. As responsible inhabitants of Earth, the future of our planet is in our hands. Have you ever wondered how life began on Earth? This is a question that has perplexed humans for centuries. One compelling theory that attempts to explain the origins of life is the primordial soup hypothesis. This idea, proposed by the Russian scientist Alexander Oparin in the 1920s, suggests that life on Earth began in the ancient oceans, which were chock full of organic compounds. According to this hypothesis, the early Earth was a rich soup of inorganic chemicals. Imagine the early oceans teeming with a concoction of amino acids, simple sugars, and other organic compounds. These substances, stirred together under the right conditions, could have fueled a series of complex chemical reactions. Ultimately, these reactions may have given rise to the first living organisms. But how did these organic compounds form in the first place? There are several possibilities. Lightning strikes, volcanic activity, and ultraviolet radiation from the sun could have all played a role in generating these compounds. Picture a bolt of lightning slashing through the ancient atmosphere, igniting a chemical reaction that produces a simple amino acid. Or consider a volcanic eruption, spewing out gases that react with sunlight to form complex organic molecules. The primordial soup hypothesis paints a picture of Earth's early days as a bustling chemical laboratory, where the ingredients for life were slowly coming together. It suggests that life emerged not from some divine intervention, but from the natural progression of chemical reactions. Of course, this is just a hypothesis, a proposed explanation based on limited evidence. It's not a definitive answer, but it provides a fascinating perspective on how life might have originated. As we continue to explore this topic in the coming scenes, we'll delve into more evidence and experiments that support this idea. So the soup of life might have been brewing in our ancient oceans, laying the groundwork for the existence we know today. As we dive deeper into the mysteries of life's origins, let's keep this image in mind. A primordial soup, simmering with possibility and teeming with the potential for life. Now, imagine if we could recreate those early conditions and produce life's building blocks in a lab. That's exactly what Stanley Miller and Harold Urey set out to do in the 1950s. They were intrigued by the primordial soup hypothesis and wanted to provide tangible evidence for it. Their experiment, known as the Miller-Urey experiment, was as audacious as it was groundbreaking. They sought to simulate the early Earth's atmosphere within the confines of a laboratory. To do this, they combined water, methane, ammonia, and hydrogen in a sealed chamber. Then, to mimic the energy provided by lightning strikes, they introduced electrical sparks into the mix. As the sparks flew, the gases swirled and reacted with each other. The chamber became a miniature version of the primordial Earth, complete with its own atmospheric soup of chemicals. The next step was to wait and see what would emerge from this synthetic primordial soup. Just 1 week later, the results were nothing short of astounding. The Miller-Urey experiment had yielded amino acids, the very building blocks of proteins. These complex molecules are essential for life as we know it, and there they were, formed from simple gases and a spark of electricity. The significance of this discovery cannot be overstated. It provided a tangible, reproducible demonstration that life's fundamental components could have originated from the simple chemical reactions in the early Earth's atmosphere. More than that, it showed that these reactions could occur spontaneously, driven by the natural energy sources available at the time. Miller and Urey's experiment did more than just support the primordial soup hypothesis. It provided a glimpse into the mysterious process that might have given birth to life on our planet. It painted a picture of a turbulent, stormy world where life's building blocks were being cooked up in the atmospheric crucible. So, the birthplace of life's building blocks might have been a turbulent, stormy world, much unlike the one we inhabit today. This experiment and others like it continue to shape our understanding of the origin of life, reminding us that even in chaos, there's a chance for life to emerge. But what if the secret to life lies in a complex molecule, one that came before the DNA we all know? As we journey further into the origins of life, we encounter a pivotal player in this grand saga, ribonucleic acid, or RNA. RNA is a versatile molecule, a jack of all trades if you will. It shares similarities with DNA, its more famous cousin, in its ability to store and transmit genetic information. But it doesn't stop there. RNA is no one-trick pony. Alongside its role in genetics, RNA can also serve as a catalyst, a chemical agent that speeds up reactions without being consumed by them. This dual capability makes RNA a unique and intriguing component in the story of life's origins. Picture this, a world where RNA reigns supreme, a world before DNA. This is the concept of the RNA world hypothesis. It proposes that early life forms may have relied solely on RNA for both storing genetic information and catalyzing chemical reactions. The RNA molecules would have acted as both the blueprints and the builders in this primordial world, directing and accelerating the chemical reactions necessary for life. But how could RNA have replicated itself without the machinery we see in modern cells? Well, certain types of RNA, called ribozymes, can indeed replicate themselves under the right conditions. This self-replication ability would have been a game-changer, allowing for the propagation of genetic information and the evolution of complexity over time. The RNA world hypothesis is a fascinating idea, providing a possible bridge between the simple chemistry of the early Earth and the complexity of the first living organisms. It's like the missing piece of a puzzle, helping us to imagine how life could have emerged from the primordial soup. So RNA might have been the first self-replicating molecule, kickstarting the evolution of life as we know it. But as with all scientific theories, The RNA world hypothesis is still being refined and tested as we continue to unravel the mysteries of life's origins. But how do we know all this? What evidence supports these theories, you may ask? Let's delve into the substantial body of evidence that lends credence to these intriguing theories. A key piece of the puzzle comes from the realm of paleontology. Fossil evidence from some of the oldest rocks on our planet suggests that basic cellular life could have made its first appearance as far back as 3.8 billion years ago. These microscopic fossils found in ancient rock formations provide intriguing insights into the earliest known life forms. They offer a tantalizing glimpse into a time when the first simple, single-celled organisms were taking their initial steps in the grand dance of life. But the evidence doesn't stop there. It extends into the realm of experimental science, where researchers have been able to simulate the conditions of early Earth in the laboratory. By recreating the environmental conditions and chemical mixtures thought to be present on our planet billions of years ago, scientists have shown that simple organic molecules can indeed assemble into more complex structures. In one remarkable experiment, scientists combined a mixture of water, methane, ammonia, and hydrogen, then subjected this mixture to a continuous electrical charge, simulating the effects of lightning. What they found was truly astonishing. Over time, these simple molecules transformed into a variety of organic compounds, including amino acids, the building blocks of life. These experiments provide compelling evidence that the basic ingredients for life as we know it could indeed have formed under the conditions present on the early Earth. They lend strong support to the primordial soup hypothesis and the potential role of RNA in the origin of life. The fossil record and laboratory experiments together paint a picture of a planet ripe for the emergence of life, a world where the elements of life could form, interact, and ultimately assemble into living organisms. As we piece together this evidence, a clearer picture of life's origins begins to emerge. So, where does this leave us in our quest to understand the origin of life? We've journeyed through the primordial soup hypothesis, where early oceans served as a veritable chemical cocktail that sparked life. We've seen how lightning, volcanic activity, and UV radiation could have contributed to the formation of these organic compounds. We've also witnessed the groundbreaking Miller-Urey experiment, which simulated Earth's early atmosphere and produced amino acids, the building blocks of life. This experiment provided compelling evidence for the primordial soup hypothesis, and demonstrated that life's necessary organic compounds could have originated from simple inorganic substances. We further explored the role of RNA, ribonucleic acid, a versatile molecule capable of storing genetic information and catalyzing chemical reactions. Scientists speculate that RNA may have been the pioneering molecule of life, serving as the first self-replicating substance in an RNA world. Supporting evidence from fossil records suggests that basic cellular life may have emerged around 3.8 billion years ago. Additionally, experiments and observations have shown that under Earth-like conditions, simple organic molecules can indeed form complex structures, such as cell-like membranes. These theories and evidence provide potential paths for understanding life's origins. However, it's important to note that much remains unknown. The origin of life is a puzzle with many missing pieces, and these theories are just some of the pieces we've managed to find so far. As science progresses, we may discover new pieces and perhaps even stumble upon a completely different picture. But for now, these theories help us make sense of the complex and wondrous process that led to life as we know it. As we continue to probe the mysteries of life's origins, we come closer to understanding our own place in the cosmos. After all, understanding where we come from is a crucial step in understanding where we're headed. We're just at the beginning of a fascinating journey. So, stay curious, keep exploring, and let's unravel the mysteries of life together. Ever pondered how life first sparked into existence on our planet? The genesis of life dates back over 3.5 billion years. Picture a time when Earth was a young planet brimming with volcanic activity and vast oceans. In this turbulent environment, the first life forms emerged. They were nothing like what we know today. These were simple, single-celled organisms, nothing more than microscopic specks in the ocean's depths. Yet, they held the potential for all life as we know it. It is in these early oceans that chemistry worked its magic. A series of complex reactions led to the formation of essential biomolecules, proteins and nucleic acids. These molecules are the building blocks of life, and their formation was a pivotal moment in our planet's history. These humble beginnings were just the start of an incredible journey. Ever heard of Charles Darwin and his theory of natural selection? If not, buckle up because we're about to dive into a theory that revolutionized our understanding of life itself. In the middle of the 19th century, Charles Darwin, a young naturalist, embarked on a voyage aboard the HMS Beagle. His observations during this journey led him to propose a groundbreaking theory that changed our perception of life's diversity and complexity. Darwin's theory of natural selection is beautifully simple yet incredibly powerful. It proposes that the individuals within a species who are most adapted to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce. Hence, these individuals can pass on their advantageous traits to the next generation. Imagine a group of giraffes, for instance. Those with longer necks can reach higher branches and have more access to food, especially during times of scarcity. Consequently, these long-necked giraffes have a better chance of survival and can pass on the trait of a long neck to their offspring. Over time, this process can lead to an increase in the number of long-necked giraffes within the population. This process is not limited to physical traits alone. Behavioral traits such as a bird's song or a wolf's hunting strategy can also be shaped by natural selection. If a particular behavior increases an individual's chance of survival or reproduction, it is more likely to be passed on to the next generation. However, it's crucial to remember that natural selection doesn't create new traits, it works on the genetic variation already present within a population. Mutations, which are changes in the DNA sequence, introduce this variation. Therefore, while natural selection shapes the population, it's the random mutations that fuel the evolutionary process by providing the raw material for natural selection to work upon. Natural selection, thus, became the engine driving biological evolution. It's an ongoing process, a dance of life, if you will, that has been choreographing the diversity and complexity of life on Earth for millions of years. So, the next time you marvel at the incredible variety of life around you, remember Darwin's theory of natural selection. It's the invisible hand guiding the evolution of life. Ever wondered how we ended up with such a diverse array of species on Earth? It all comes down to a process called speciation. As organisms reproduce, genetic changes occur. Over time, these changes can accumulate, leading to variations in physical traits or behaviors within a population. If a subset of this population becomes isolated, perhaps by a geographical barrier or a shift in mating preferences, these changes can become more pronounced. Eventually, this subset might diverge so much from the original population that they can no longer interbreed, giving birth to a new species. This process of speciation is like nature's own laboratory, experimenting with life in myriad forms and functions. It's what allows life to explore new environments, adapt to various challenges, and exploit unique opportunities. From the colorful tapestry of coral reef fishes to the myriad of insect species in a rainforest, speciation is the engine driving this incredible biodiversity. This is how the incredible diversity of species we see today came into existence. Ever thought about what fossils can teach us about the past? Fossils, the preserved remains or traces of ancient life, serve as remarkable windows to the past. They offer us a glimpse into the world as it was millions, even billions of years ago. When we examine fossils, we are not just looking at old bones and imprints. We're actually witnessing ancient organisms frozen in time. They allow us to understand the life that once thrived on this planet, long before humans ever walked the Earth. What's even more fascinating is that some fossils reveal transitional forms. Organisms that bear characteristics of both earlier and more recent species. These fossils are like stepping stones, bridging gaps in our understanding of how species have evolved over time. They tell us that evolution is not a sudden leap, but a gradual process of change and adaptation. So the next time you look at a fossil, remember this. These fossils are living proof of the gradual change and adaptation that has occurred over millions of years. Ever wondered about the sudden burst of life that occurred during the Cambrian explosion? This remarkable event, that took place about 541 million years ago, was a defining moment in the history of life. Imagine this. In a relatively short span of time, life on Earth underwent a rapid diversification. From simple multicellular organisms, life exploded into a dazzling array of complex forms. It was as if life itself had suddenly been given a blank canvas and a whole spectrum of colors to paint with. This rapid diversification resulted in an incredible variety of body plans and structures, each more intricate than the last. And so the stage was set for the development of even more complex life forms. The Cambrian explosion wasn't just an event, it was a revolution, a dramatic change that reshaped the world as we know it. This explosion in biodiversity was a critical turning point in the evolution of life. Ever wondered how evolution has led to the development of complex life forms? It's a fascinating journey, one that saw the rise of remarkable innovations that forever changed the face of life on Earth. One such innovation was the evolution of skeletons. Now, when we think of skeletons, we might picture the sturdy bones that provide structure to our bodies. But the first skeletons were not made of bone, but rather of soft and flexible materials. These early skeletons offered support and protection, enabling organisms to grow larger and explore new habitats. Over time, these soft skeletons hardened, giving rise to the rigid structures we're familiar with today. But evolution didn't stop there. As life forms became more complex, they developed intricate organ systems to carry out essential functions. Take the circulatory system, for instance. It evolved to transport nutrients and oxygen throughout the body, ensuring the survival of larger organisms. The respiratory system, on the other hand, evolved to exchange gases with the environment, an essential process for life. Perhaps the most fascinating innovation in evolution is the development of brains. Brains brought about a new level of complexity, enabling organisms to process information from their environment and respond accordingly. This gave rise to sensory perception, learning, memory, and even intelligence. And in some species, like us humans, brains evolved to an extraordinary level of sophistication, giving rise to consciousness, language, technology, and culture. These innovations, from skeletons to organ systems to brains, didn't just happen overnight. They were the result of countless generations of trial and error, adaptation, and selection. And with each successful innovation, organisms were able to thrive in new environments and harness new ecological niches. These innovations allowed organisms to survive in diverse environments and harness new ecological niches. So the next time you marvel at the complexity and diversity of life around you, remember, it's all thanks to the incredible power of evolution. Ever pondered our own incredible journey through evolution? Well, let's dive into it. Human evolution is an epic tale spanning millions of years. It's a story of survival, adaptation, and innovation that has led us to where we are today, as Homo sapiens, the species that not only survives but thrives in a multitude of environments. Our tale begins around 7 million years ago, with the divergence of our lineage from that of the chimpanzees, our closest living relatives. This marked the beginning of the hominin line, the group that includes humans and our extinct ancestors. The early hominins were gradually shaped by evolution, leading to unique traits that set us apart. One of the most significant of these was bipedalism, the ability to walk upright on two legs. This adaptation freed up our ancestors' hands, paving the way for the use of tools, an essential step in our evolution. Over time, the hominin brain began to expand. This growth wasn't just about size, but about the complexity of connections within the brain. With a larger and more intricate brain, our ancestors developed advanced cognitive abilities, leading to the creation of language, art, and culture. About 200,000 years ago, a new species emerged that was remarkably like us, the Homo sapiens. Our species was characterized by a further increase in brain size, a flatter face, and a more rounded skull. But what truly set us apart was our ability to think symbolically, plan ahead, and create complex societies. And here we are today, the only surviving members of the hominin line. We've journeyed from the heart of Africa to reach every corner of the globe, adapting to and shaping the world around us. We've built civilizations, developed technology, and sought to understand the universe and our place in it. That's the astonishing story of the evolution of life, from the simplest organisms to the complex life forms we see today. It's a story that reminds us of our connection to all other life on Earth, and the power of evolution in shaping the diversity and complexity of life. From the humble beginnings of single-celled organisms, to the vast array of species we see today, we're all part of this grand and ongoing narrative of life's evolution. Have you ever considered how a hummingbird, a flower, and a tree might be connected? It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? This connection, a bond between all living creatures and the world around them, is what we call the web of life. It's a complex network of interactions where every organism, every species has a role to play. From the tiny microbes in the soil to the majestic elephants of the savannah, each has a part in this grand performance of nature. And it's not just about the animals or plants. It's about how they interact with each other and their environment. It's about the energy flow from the sun to the plants and then to the animals. It's about the nutrient cycle, the water cycle, and so much more. This intricate web of life where each organism is connected to others forms what we call an ecosystem. So what exactly is an ecosystem? Let's break it down. In the simplest terms, an ecosystem is a community. But not just any community, it's a community where living organisms of all shapes and sizes come together and interact with each other and their physical environment. Think of it as a bustling city where every resident, from the towering skyscrapers to the tiny microbes in the soil, plays a vital role. From the birds in the sky to the fish in the sea, from the flowers blooming in the meadow to the worms wriggling in the earth, every single organism is part of this intricate dance of life. And it's not just about the living things. The physical environment, the sun, the rain, the wind, the rocks, everything plays a part in this grand spectacle. In essence, an ecosystem is a complex network of interactions between living organisms and their environment. These ecosystems are not all the same though. From the lush, verdant rainforest teeming with life in every nook and cranny, to the vast, deep oceans that hold mysteries beyond our imagination, each ecosystem is a world of its own. And let's not forget the urban landscapes we inhabit, where nature finds a way to coexist with the concrete jungle. Each of these ecosystems houses a unique set of species, adapting to the environmental conditions they call home. In the rainforests, you'll find creatures that thrive in warm, humid conditions, while the ocean depths are home to species adapted to survive under extreme pressure and in the dark. Even within our cities there are birds, insects, and plants that have adjusted to the hustle and bustle of urban life. Despite their differences, all ecosystems have one thing in common: a balance of interactions between their inhabitants. Each species, large or small, plays a crucial role in maintaining this balance. How are these ecosystems interconnected, you might wonder? Well, let's dive into this fascinating concept of interconnectedness. In every ecosystem, there's a complex network of interactions between living organisms. Each organism, whether it's a towering tree, a buzzing bee, or a microorganism invisible to the naked eye, has its role to play. Take the tree for instance. It provides shelter and food for a variety of animals. In return, these creatures help in the tree's reproduction by spreading its seeds. Meanwhile, microorganisms in the soil break down fallen leaves and dead animals, turning them into nutrients that the tree needs to grow. This is a simple example of the intricate relationships that exist within an ecosystem, but here's the real kicker. These relationships don't just exist within a single ecosystem. They span across different ecosystems, creating a global web of life where everyone and everything is dependent on each other. Thus, every species in an ecosystem plays a crucial role in maintaining the balance of life. Let's now turn our attention to the awe-inspiring diversity of life on Earth. Imagine walking through a rainforest, where every step introduces you to different creatures, each with their unique features and roles. Now, visualize diving into the ocean, where a whole new range of species exists, from the smallest plankton to the massive blue whale. Even in the most seemingly barren desert, or the harshest Arctic tundra, life persists in astonishing variety. This is the essence of biodiversity. It's the totality of genes, species, and ecosystems in a region. It's the vibrant colors of tropical birds, the countless species of insects, the variety of plants and trees, and the myriad of microorganisms in our soils and waters. Each one has a role to play, each one contributes to the grand tapestry of life. This incredible diversity of life forms is what we call biodiversity. Why is biodiversity so important though, you may ask? Well, biodiversity is the lifeblood of our planet. It provides stability to ecosystems, acting as a safety net that allows life to thrive. When you have a diverse array of species, the ecosystem is more resilient and can better withstand disturbances. If one species fails, others can step in to perform necessary roles. It's like a well-balanced team where each player brings their unique skills to the game. Moreover, biodiversity ensures ecosystem services, those invaluable benefits that nature provides us. These include everything from pollination of crops and control of pests, to purification of water and air, and even the regulation of our climate. And let's not forget, biodiversity offers us countless resources. It's the source of our food, many of our medicines, and a wealth of materials for various uses. Biodiversity is therefore the backbone of healthy ecosystems and human well-being. Just how diverse is life on Earth? Brace yourself for some mind-blowing figures. Scientists estimate that our planet is teeming with about 8.7 million different species. Yes, you heard that right, 8.7 million. That's more than the entire human population of New York City, London, Tokyo, and Shanghai combined. But here's the catch. We have only discovered and classified about 1.2 million species. That leaves over 7 million species yet to be discovered. Imagine that, 7 million species sharing this planet with us, living their lives in ways we can't even begin to comprehend. They could be in the deepest trenches of our oceans, the darkest corners of our forests, or even in our own backyards. The sheer diversity of life on our planet is nothing short of mind-boggling. Regrettably, this rich biodiversity is under threat. The culprits? Human activities like deforestation, pollution, and climate change. Let's break it down. Deforestation, primarily driven by agriculture, logging, and infrastructure development, is causing habitat loss, pushing countless species towards extinction. Then there's pollution. Whether it's plastic in our oceans, pesticides in our soil, or smog in our air, pollution is wreaking havoc on ecosystems worldwide. And we can't forget about climate change. Rising temperatures, shifting weather patterns, and increasing sea levels are disrupting habitats and threatening species survival. The stark reality is that species are disappearing up to 1,000 times their natural rate due to these human-induced factors. This rapid loss of biodiversity is not just a loss for the environment but for humanity as well. It affects our food security, our health, and our resilience against natural disasters. The rapid loss of biodiversity is indeed a global crisis. Yet, hope is not lost. Across the globe, individuals, communities, and governments are taking action to protect and conserve our planet's biodiversity. Let's take a journey to the national parks, for instance. These are vast protected areas that serve as safe havens for countless species. Think about Yellowstone in the United States or the Serengeti in Tanzania. These parks are not just tourist attractions, they are vital for the survival of many species. But it's not just about the big open spaces. Wildlife sanctuaries, even those in urban areas, are also playing a crucial role. They provide a refuge for species that may otherwise struggle to survive in the hustle and bustle of city life. Conservation is a global effort and it's an ongoing one. It requires dedication, collaboration, and a deep respect for the natural world. With concerted efforts, we can protect and conserve our planet's biodiversity. In conclusion, ecosystems and biodiversity are the heartbeat of our planet. We've journeyed through the intricate web of life, understanding how every organism, no matter how small, plays a vital role in the fabric of our ecosystems. From the lush rainforests to the deep blue oceans and our very own urban landscapes, the diversity and interconnectedness of life is truly a marvel to behold. We've also delved into the importance of biodiversity, and how it brings stability to ecosystems and provides invaluable resources. With an estimated 8.7 million species on Earth, the scale of life's diversity is staggering. Yet we've acknowledged the threats to biodiversity and the urgency of conservation efforts. Remember, every single species contributes to the ecosystem it inhabits in its unique way. The health of our planet and our own well-being hinge on the preservation of these complex webs of life. So let's celebrate, protect, and cherish the wondrous biodiversity that surrounds us. Imagine a world without trees. Can we even survive? Now picture this. Every year, millions upon millions of acres of lush, vibrant, life-giving forests are lost. The culprits? Human activities like logging, urbanization, and the ceaseless expansion of agriculture. This process, known as deforestation, is stripping our planet of its green cover, one tree at a time. You might ask, why should I care? Here's why. Trees are not just tall, leafy structures dotting our landscapes. They are the very lifelines of our existence. They churn out the oxygen we breathe, and they serve as a giant sponge, soaking up carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, acting as a natural counter to climate change. But that's not all. Trees are also the pillars of biodiversity, providing shelter and sustenance to countless species of animals, birds, and insects. Each tree felled is not just a loss of a plant but the disruption of an intricate, interdependent web of life. Now let's delve into the human activities triggering deforestation. Logging, for instance, is a major contributor. The demand for timber and wood products often leads to unsustainable logging practices, decimating vast tracts of forest land. Next up, urbanization. As our cities and towns expand, they encroach upon forested areas, reducing them to concrete jungles. The result? Habitat loss for numerous species and disruption of ecological balance. Finally, the expansion of agriculture. To feed the ever-growing human population, forests are often cleared to make way for farmlands. While feeding the world is crucial, we must also ask ourselves, at what cost? So what's the bottom line? Deforestation is not just about losing trees, but about destabilizing our very existence. The disappearance of forests is akin to pulling the rug from under our feet. We are not just losing trees, but the air we breathe, the wildlife we share the planet with, and the climate stability we need. It's time we realize that every tree matters, every forest counts. The choices we make today will determine the future we step into tomorrow. Let's ensure it's a green, thriving one. After all, deforestation is not just about losing trees, but about destabilizing our very existence. What if the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the soil we grow our food in, all become toxic? Unfortunately, this is not a hypothetical scenario. Pollution, a largely man-made disaster, has made this a harsh reality for many regions around the globe. Air pollution, primarily caused by industrial emissions, vehicular exhaust, and burning of fossil fuels, fills our skies with a toxic cocktail of pollutants. These invisible enemies not only harm our health, causing respiratory issues and other ailments, but also contribute to climate change by trapping heat in our atmosphere. Then, we have water pollution. Every day, untreated sewage, industrial waste, and agricultural runoff pour into our rivers, lakes, and oceans. This contamination poses a serious threat to aquatic life, disrupting delicate ecosystems and contaminating our water supplies. The effects of water pollution often ripple outward, affecting food chains and impacting species far removed from the original source. And let's not forget about soil pollution. This silent destroyer is often overlooked, but its impacts are far-reaching. Pesticides, heavy metals, and waste seep into the ground, contaminating the soil that nurtures our crops. This not only affects food security but also disrupts the natural balance of soil ecosystems, impacting everything from tiny microbes to larger animals. These various forms of pollution, all traced back to human activities, form a grim tableau of our disregard for the environment. But it's not just about nature. This pollution directly affects us too. Contaminated air, water, and soil lead to a host of health problems and reduce the quality of life for millions of people across the globe. The effects on wildlife are equally distressing. Pollution alters habitats, poisons food sources, and even changes animal behavior. It's a significant factor in the decline of many species and the growing list of endangered animals. So we see, pollution is not just an environmental issue, it's a health issue, an economic issue, a social issue, and above all, a moral issue. It's a mirror, reflecting our actions back at us in the most harmful ways. We must take action now, before the reflection becomes unbearable. Do you feel the heat, the rising temperatures, the melting ice, the extreme weather events? Are we causing it? Indeed we are, and it's called climate change. This global crisis, largely driven by human activities, is altering the very fabric of our planet. When we burn fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas, we release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. This gas, along with others like methane and nitrous oxide, forms a sort of blanket around the Earth, trapping heat and causing global warming. It's like we've thrown an extra quilt on our planet and now it's getting uncomfortably warm. The impacts of climate change are far-reaching and severe. Rising temperatures are causing polar ice caps to melt, leading to a rise in sea levels. This threatens coastal communities with more frequent and severe flooding. But it's not just about more water, it's about more heat and instability too. Climate change intensifies weather patterns. It turns droughts into deserts and storms into hurricanes. We're experiencing more heat waves, more heavy rainfalls, and more severe cyclones than ever before. And these aren't just disastrous for us, they're catastrophic for wildlife and ecosystems too. Warmer temperatures also disrupt seasons, throwing off the delicate timing of nature. Flowers bloom before pollinators emerge, birds miss the insects they feed on, and marine species can't spawn as ocean temperatures fluctuate. Entire ecosystems are collapsing because of our actions. And the worst part? We're not just spectators in this unfolding disaster, we're the instigators. Our dependency on fossil fuels, our rampant deforestation, our relentless pursuit of economic growth, all at the expense of the environment, have brought us to this tipping point. But it's not too late. Humanity has solved big problems before, and we can do it again. It starts with acknowledging the truth, that climate change is real, it's urgent, and it's us. Then, we need to take action, from reducing our carbon emissions to embracing sustainable practices. Climate change is not a distant future, it's happening now and we're living it. And if we want to ensure a livable planet for future generations, we need to act, not tomorrow, not next year, but today. because every degree matters, and so does every decision. Do you hear the silence? The silence of the species we're losing every day? Habitat destruction, a result of deforestation and global warming, is causing a serious disruption in our ecosystems. When we lose forests, we're not just losing trees, we're also losing homes for countless species. In turn, this leads to a ripple effect of biodiversity loss, which is not just about the disappearance of species but also the breakdown of the intricate web of life. Biodiversity is the heart of a balanced environment. It supports everything from nutrient cycling and soil formation to climate regulation and water purification. Each species, no matter how small, plays a critical role in maintaining this balance. When one species disappears, it can set off a chain reaction that affects the entire ecosystem. Every species lost is a step towards an unstable environment. Let's break the silence and take action to protect our precious biodiversity. How do we undo the damage? Can we restore our planet's health? The answer lies in one word: conservation. Conservation is not merely an abstract concept, it's a tangible, actionable solution to the environmental crisis we're facing. It's about ensuring the sustainability of our planet for us and for generations to come. Conservation is a broad term that encompasses various practices, all aimed at protecting and preserving our environment. At the forefront of these practices is reforestation. As we've noted, deforestation is a significant contributor to climate change and loss of biodiversity. Reforestation, the process of replanting forests, is a powerful tool to combat these issues. It helps restore habitats, increase biodiversity, and absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Another crucial practice is recycling. By recycling, we reduce the amount of waste that ends up in our landfills and oceans. It also conserves our resources by reducing the need for raw materials. Remember, everything we throw away has a cost, not just in monetary terms but in environmental terms as well. Next, let's talk about renewable energy. Shifting from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources like wind, solar, and hydroelectric power is a significant step towards reducing our carbon emissions. It's a change that not only benefits the environment but also creates jobs and fosters economic growth. The good news is, all around the world, individuals, communities, and governments are taking action. From large-scale reforestation projects to innovative recycling programs, to the implementation of renewable energy solutions, we're seeing positive change, and every one of us can contribute to this movement. Whether it's by recycling, reducing our energy consumption, or planting a tree, every action counts. Remember, conservation starts at home. It's about making mindful choices every day. It's about understanding that our choices have consequences, and we have the power to shape those consequences. In the end, conservation is not just about saving the environment, but about securing our future. It's about realizing that we're not separate from nature but a part of it. And as part of nature, we have a responsibility to protect it. So, let's take that responsibility seriously. Let's make conservation a priority, because our planet's health is our health, and its future is our future. The time for action is now. Can we make a difference? Absolutely. Every one of us has the power to make a difference. Our individual actions, no matter how small, can collectively lead to significant changes. By choosing to recycle, by opting for renewable energy, by planting a tree, we're contributing to a larger global effort of conservation. It's not just about protecting the environment, it's about safeguarding our future, the future of our children, and the generations to come. We all bear a responsibility to this planet we call home. Through our daily choices, we can reduce our carbon footprint, we can support sustainable practices, and we can help restore the balance. Remember, it's not about the change that one person can make, but the change that all of us can make together. Our planet's future is in our hands. Let's take responsibility and act now for a brighter, healthier future. Ever wondered what the future holds for our precious Earth? As we navigate through the 21st century, our planet's future becomes a topic of increasing importance. Today, we're embarking on a journey to explore potential future scenarios for Earth. We'll dive into 3 possible outcomes: ecological harmony, environmental challenges, and technological advancements. Our first scenario, ecological harmony, paints a hopeful picture. Imagine a world where humanity has finally found a balance with nature. We've adopted sustainable practices, embraced renewable energy, and conserved our natural resources. It's a world where our actions support the Earth's ecosystems, allowing them to thrive and flourish. However, we must also consider a less optimistic scenario: environmental challenges. In this future, we failed to address pressing issues such as climate change, deforestation, and pollution. The Earth is battered by severe natural disasters, biodiversity is dwindling, and resources are scarce. It's a grim reminder of the potential consequences if we don't change our ways. Finally, let's envision a future of technological advancements. Here, humanity has harnessed technology to tackle environmental issues. We've seen breakthroughs in green tech, space exploration, and carbon capture. The power of human innovation has been leveraged to mitigate the impact on our planet. 3 different paths, each with its own set of challenges and opportunities. As we stand at this crossroads, it's crucial to remember that the future isn't set in stone. The choices we make today will shape the Earth's future. Whether it's a world in ecological harmony, one fraught with environmental challenges, or a future driven by technological advancements, the path we take is in our hands. Remember, the future of Earth isn't just about what will happen, it's about what can happen and what we can do to ensure a sustainable, thriving planet for generations to come. So let's roll up our sleeves and work together to secure a bright future for our one and only home, Earth. Imagine a world where humanity lives in harmony with nature. This beautiful vision is what we call ecological harmony. It's a scenario that we all can strive for, a future where we are not just inhabitants of Earth, but its custodians. It's a world where we have finally realized that our survival is intrinsically linked to the health of our planet. In this future, the word sustainable is not just a buzzword but a way of life. Our practices, from the food we eat to the clothes we wear, are all rooted in sustainability. We've traded fast fashion for circular fashion, and our plates are filled with locally sourced, plant-based foods. We've bid adieu to single-use plastics and embraced zero-waste living. We've also harnessed the power of the sun, the wind, and the waves, making renewable energy our primary source of power. The air is cleaner, the sky is clearer, and our carbon footprint? Well, that's a thing of the past. The concept of throwing away doesn't exist in this world, because there is no away. We've learned to value our resources and conserve them. We've understood that water is not just a commodity, but the source of life, and we've made efforts to protect and purify it. Forests are no longer seen as timber yards, but as the lungs of the earth, providing us with the precious oxygen we breathe. In this world of ecological harmony, we respect all life forms. We've stopped encroaching on wildlife habitats, recognizing that they have as much right to this planet as we do. We've realized that every creature, no matter how small, plays a vital role in the ecosystem, and we've made efforts to conserve biodiversity. In this future, we are not just surviving, but thriving along with the rest of the planet. It's a delicate balance, but it's one that we've learned to maintain. It's a world where we've understood that we are not separate from nature, but a part of it. A future of coexistence and sustainability, a future we can strive for. It's not just a dream, but a possibility if we make the right choices today. Because the future of Earth is in our hands. On the other hand, we may face a future of severe environmental challenges. Delving into this scenario, we confront a world where climate change accelerates at an alarming rate. Rising global temperatures melt polar ice caps and cause sea levels to rise, leading to more frequent and severe weather events. The ferocity of hurricanes, wildfires, and heat waves intensifies, causing untold damage and loss of life. Deforestation is another major concern. As we continue to cut down our forests for urbanization and agriculture, we're not just losing trees, we're upsetting delicate ecosystems, causing soil erosion, and contributing to climate change. Forests act as our planet's lungs, absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. Without them, our battle against global warming becomes that much harder. Next, we have pollution. Be it in the air we breathe, the water we drink, or the land we inhabit, pollution is a pervasive problem. It harms our health, affects wildlife, and contaminates our natural resources. Then, there are the natural disasters: floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. Their increased frequency and severity are stark reminders of our planet's fragility. They not only cause immediate destruction but also have long-term effects on human lives and economies. Furthermore, we're witnessing a rapid loss of biodiversity. Species are going extinct at an unprecedented rate due to habitat loss, poaching, pollution, and climate change. This loss of biodiversity disrupts ecosystems and could lead to the collapse of the services they provide, like pollination, pest control, and water purification. Lastly, there's the issue of resource scarcity. As the human population grows, so does our demand for water, food, and energy. But our planet's resources are finite. If we continue to consume at our current rate without thinking about sustainability, we might face a future where these resources become scarce. A daunting scenario, but one that we can change with collective action. Scene script. Or, could we harness the power of technology to mitigate environmental issues? Let's dive into the scenario of technological advancements. In a world where technology is advancing at an unprecedented rate, we could potentially leverage these developments to tackle environmental challenges. Imagine a future where green tech, space exploration, and carbon capture are the norm, not the exception. Green technology, or green tech, is a rapidly growing field that focuses on creating products and services that have minimal negative impacts on the environment. From solar panels that harness the power of the sun to electric vehicles that emit zero greenhouse gases, green tech is already making a significant difference. And with continuous advancements, we could see even more innovative solutions like biodegradable plastics and energy-efficient smart homes that reduce our carbon footprint. Then there's the thrilling frontier of space exploration. We've already seen the first steps with successful missions to Mars and the outer reaches of our solar system. But what if we could go further? What if we could harness the vast resources of space, such as asteroids rich in rare minerals? This could potentially alleviate the strain on Earth's resources and pave the way for a new era of sustainable development. And let's not forget about carbon capture technologies. These innovative solutions aim to remove excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, tackling one of the leading causes of global warming head-on. Imagine factories that not only produce zero emissions but also actively clean the air, or forests of artificial trees that absorb carbon dioxide much more efficiently than their natural counterparts. In this future scenario, technology isn't a part of the problem, it's a crucial part of the solution. It's a future where we don't have to choose between progress and the planet. Instead, we can use our ingenuity and innovation to create a world where both can thrive. A future where technology and innovation lead the way towards sustainability. Regardless of the path we take, there are steps we can all take to ensure Earth's sustainability. Transitioning to sustainable energy sources such as solar, wind, and nuclear power is a critical first step. This shift reduces our greenhouse gas emissions and lessens our dependence on rapidly depleting fossil fuels. Next, we must prioritize biodiversity conservation. By protecting our ecosystems and endangered species, we maintain the crucial balance of our planet's ecology. The time-tested mantra of reduce, reuse, recycle is more relevant than ever. By consciously reducing waste and reusing materials, we can significantly decrease the environmental impact of our consumption habits. Climate action through international agreements and individual efforts is paramount to reduce carbon emissions. Finally, exploring space offers new frontiers for humanity and holds the potential for resource extraction that doesn't harm our home planet. Together we can make a difference. Every small step counts. Finally, we cannot underestimate the power of education and advocacy. As we journey into the future, the knowledge we gain and share becomes our most potent tool. It's through education that we understand the mechanics of our planet, the challenges it faces, and the solutions we can employ. But knowledge is just one part of the equation. Advocacy is where this knowledge transforms into action. It's where we push for sustainable policies that protect our environment and conserve our natural resources. It's where we champion renewable energy, waste reduction, biodiversity conservation, and technological advancements that benefit our Earth. Each one of us has a role to play, from making informed choices to advocating for change at all levels, from our local communities to the global stage. It's a collective effort, a shared responsibility to safeguard our home. With knowledge and advocacy, we can shape a sustainable future for our Earth.